So one day I was just asking my friend about the cloud market in India, comparing AWS or GCP versus Azure or even Oracle. I was just asking him how many positions are there and how the hiring is happening. So he said Azure is doing good, and he specifically said Azure DevOps is doing very well. And I was like, what the heck is Azure DevOps? Is it like a marketing BS from Microsoft or Azure where you just create one deployment service in Azure and then call it as Azure DevOps? So then I started doing some research about Azure DevOps. Since I do not work in Azure, I had to do some research like why companies are hiring crazy in Azure DevOps. So in this video, I'm going to go over my findings of Azure DevOps, why companies are hiring in that area, specifically in Azure, and do you have to prepare for Azure DevOps or do you have to learn Azure DevOps? So we are going to discuss about all these things in this video. Hello all, if you're new to this channel, my name is GK. So I cover a lot of cloud content and some of the inspirational content that would be useful for your career. If you like that sort of content, please subscribe to my channel. So getting into the content, whenever I'm going to discuss about the DevOps, I don't want to waste your time by saying what is DevOps and all that stuff. Just get the pipeline in your mind whenever I'm going to talk about DevOps and all that stuff. And if you have any questions, feel free to go back to my playlist of DevOps and you would understand at a very high level what are the different DevOps SDLC things or tools and stuff. That way it will be easier for you to understand this video. So what Microsoft has done is it has created this one place, one integrated place, or dev.azure.com, creating this whole DevOps pipeline in one suite. It's an integrated suite of DevOps tools to enhance your developer experience. They are very well integrated because you have different services of DevOps at a different stages. So they are all part of one suite like dev.azure.com. So that's a thing that Azure has created, which is not seen in AWS or GCP. So as part of this integration, they haven't restricted themselves to deploying only in Microsoft. So that's the best part of this tool chain is like, you can deploy to any cloud. We're going to discuss about the tools at a very high level, but I'm going to go over in detail about these tools in my upcoming videos. So if you compare this with AWS or GCP, so they have sort of created DevOps tools or services, but they are sort of half baked, and you see that in the adoption of those services. There are not many people who are using those services when compared to Azure DevOps. So I can show you this comparison that you see right now on the screen is comparing between AWS versus Azure DevOps, like AWS DevOps versus Azure DevOps, and AWS is nowhere near the picture when it compares to Azure DevOps in the terms of popularity, in the terms of trending. So now let's look at what are the services at a very high level again, because I'm going to go over in the detail in the next video by deploying or by going into each section and going into deep into each section of Azure DevOps services. Now, the first one is Azure Boards. So this is my favorite offering or service from Azure DevOps because when AWS or GCP, so they have DevOps tools, but they have forgotten the important part of planning, which is agile planning or safe planning or whatever you want to call. You need to start with planning before you start writing the code or before you deploy the code. Now Azure has created this very simple Azure Boards. I like this simplicity when compared to Jira or any other platform, because you just have a simple way of creating the tasks. You can create these Kanban boards or you can create these Scrum boards. It is similar approach to the GitLab boards, and it's very simple. You can create the tasks and then you can start the planning from there, and then you can go into the next part of the pipeline. So the next service is Azure Pipelines. It supports any language. It supports Docker containers. The best part, my favorite part, is it can be used to deploy to any cloud or any platform. Usually Microsoft over the years is sort of a closed platform where they wouldn't allow you to talk to any other service like Apple ecosystem. But this is awesome to see that they are opening up their platform. That way you can using the pipelines you can deploy to GCP or AWS. I want to personally understand that and try out few tutorials before I talk about that in the video, because I do not have any experience on that. But that's a very good feature to use pipelines, and that's why the adoption is also more. And that's why you also see in the marketplace AWS has created AWS tools as part of the package in Azure, so that you can integrate from Azure or you can deploy from Azure or drop things to AWS S3 or you can deploy to AWS cloud. So Azure Repos is another service. It's just another repository, but again it has seamless integration with GitHub, because GitHub is obviously now under Microsoft. Microsoft bought GitHub if you're not aware of that. So they have easy integration. If you have a GitHub account, they are having free services. They give you completely free pipelines and stuff for open source projects. So if you are into open source, you can utilize this for very less money, and you can start using Azure repos, and you can create the pipelines for your open source projects. And the other service which is important, which other clouds have forgotten, is the test plans. And as part of your DevOps, the most important thing is also testing, where you do manual testing or you do automated testing. So they have provided this interface where you can write the manual cases, you can take the screenshots, you can take the videos, and you can also integrate your automated cases in that Azure test plans. And last but not least, Azure Artifacts is another service. Azure Artifacts is where you ship your package. You can store your jar file or war file or ultimate artifact that you can use to deploy. And it is like your Artifactory service. They have integrations with third-party softwares as well. So try to go into this documentation and take a look at the marketplace, and you will see that it has awesome integrations with a lot of stuff that is out there in the market. Now coming to the most important topic, like, do you have to invest your time in Azure DevOps? So my personal feeling is that the adoption of Azure DevOps is going to increase like anything, because the direct competition for Azure DevOps in this space, if you ask me, would be like GitLab. GitLab also has an integrated suite of tools. It has right from GitOps and all that stuff. And Azure has a backing of its own infrastructure, and you can also deploy to Azure App Service or Kubernetes services and stuff. And Azure as a DevOps has created this nice marketing place, and it has created this suite of tools that I think you should invest your time and at least understand and study a bit and do some POCs. Now if you are already working in a company as a DevOps engineer, I personally would recommend you to spend some time and learn Azure DevOps and try to do some POCs. That way you'll understand how is it different from how you do DevOps in your company using different tools. So that's all I wanted to share in this video, my first impressions on Azure DevOps. I haven't gone through the in-depth details of each of these services, but I wanted to do that, and I want to do more and more videos on Azure. So let me know in the comment section if you want me to spend some time on Azure content, so that I can create more Azure DevOps and other stuff related to the Azure cloud. Thank you all again for watching this video. If you like this video, give it a like. Take care. Bye.